Dear Taurus, no one can understand the weight you have shouldered, but you, the Taurus soul, have been chosen not to endure more burdens, but to awaken. This moment is not an accident. It is a promise made lifetimes ago, and you are in the right place at the right time to remember what your soul once vowed. In part 3, you will hear a message from God. But first, let us begin where everything truly opens. Part 1, where you realize you have been preparing for this moment your entire life. Do you feel it? A shift quietly waiting ahead of you. Not quite an event, not entirely a prophecy, but a soft whisper, as if your soul has known this all along. But only now, in this very moment, do you finally have the courage to listen. You are not here by chance, not because the title caught your eye, not out of curiosity or hope, but because it is time for your soul to remember a covenant it once made with the universe from a realm far beyond life and death. You see, some are born to live peaceful lives, but others, souls like yours, are born to be the solid ground, to anchor light into the world. You felt like you had to carry too much, as if the whole world rested on your shoulders. You've looked up in silence and asked, "Why must I work so hard? Why am I always the one who has to be responsible when all I ever wanted was peace? Why am I always the one who builds while others break? Why am I the only one who stays steady while everyone else changes?" You have been exhausted in silence, unseen, unheard. You've smiled on the outside while your heart grew weary, and you have carried strength on your shoulders not because you weren't in pain, but because you had no other choice. But today, dear one, let me say this to you. Everything you've gone through was never meaningless. Not a single drop of sweat you shed was forgotten. Not one effort you made was wasted. Each moment was a sacred brick, preparing you for this one. The moment when you begin to remember who you truly are. The Buddha once said, "No drop of water ever falls in the wrong place." And God never places a soul as a foundation without intending to build a temple upon it. You, Taurus soul, are the sacred ground God has hidden away. Not because you weren't ready, but because the world wasn't ready for the stability you were about to bring. Sometimes, the strongest souls are the quietest ones. The ones who are not applauded, not seen, not praised, but they are the ones who carry the weight. The ones who persevere. The ones who silently build security for the generations before them. You were never forgotten. You were only hidden, like a vein of gold buried deep within the earth, waiting to be unearthed at the right time. And that time is now. Close your eyes for a moment. Do you feel it? Not a voice, but a knowing, a resonance, as if what is being spoken here has always lived quietly inside you. Maybe you have prayed in your exhaustion. You knelt not to ask for things, but simply for more strength. You looked up and whispered, "Does anyone see how hard I'm trying?" And you thought no one did, but you were wrong. It was the sheer persistence you held onto that day that opened the gate you are now stepping through. The gate of awakening, the gate of purpose, the gate of soul. You were made for something far greater than you ever believed, and every burden you've carried was not proof that you were abandoned. It was confirmation that you are ready to be the safe harbor for others. You used to wait for an assurance from the outside, but the truth is, you were chosen to be the assurance. And to do that, you had to know what instability feels like. God never chooses the perfect ones. He chooses the steadfast, because only they know how to build again from the shattered pieces of someone else's heart. And you, dear Taurus, are one of them. From the dream you put on hold, from the comfort you sacrificed, from the times you lowered your head and accepted responsibility, from every time you stood firm when others walked away, from every time you said, "I'm fine," when you were exhausted, all of it has been gathered to become the solid foundation you now stand upon. Do you know why the most enduring blessings always come late? Because only the truly grounded souls are strong enough to receive them without losing themselves. And you have become grounded even if you haven't realized it yet. Even if you are still worried, the light within you has already begun to shine quietly, like the earth warming before dawn, unstoppable. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, if this is the moment I awaken, am I ready to let go of the old control, the burdens, the fears, to step into my truest self, strong, gentle, and upheld by God? Answer that in silence. You don't need to say it aloud. Just acknowledge that you've come a long way and now you deserve to come home. In the next part, you'll discover an energy being released, one that can transform not just your financial destiny, but also free your soul from invisible chains. There is a current flowing toward you, not because you begged for it, but because you planted the seed long ago. And today, you only need to open your heart to receive. Right beneath this video, write, "I am ready to receive what has never happened before," as a soul's commitment, as a ritual for light to enter. You're not just watching a video, you're calling your soul home. And in the next part is when that soul begins to reclaim everything that was once delayed. Abundance is opening its door. Will you dare to step through? A sacred gate has opened, only for your soul. There are things you cannot explain with logic, only feel with the soul. And your soul has begun to stir, not loud, not urgent, just something softly shifting inside you. You don't know where to begin, but your heart feels an unusual sense of peace when you think about the future. You don't know what to call it, only that something is about to happen. A number repeating itself on receipts, a familiar scent from the past suddenly filling the air, an old song playing right when you need to hear it. You think those are coincidences? They're not. They are signs. Signs that a gate is opening. And you, yes you, are the one who built the foundation for it long ago. In Buddhism, you are called a sacred foundation. Not everyone is a foundation. Only those who have endured, only those who have shouldered the weight, only those who never denied their responsibility can anchor the true light. In the Bible, you are the fertile ground, a place not to keep for yourself, but to plant, to nurture, to bless. You once asked, "I have given so much, so why was I chosen?" But precisely because you have cultivated, you now have room for a greater harvest. No one can hold a miracle unless they have prepared the ground for it. And now, you no longer need to chase after security, no need to seek validation, no need to wait for a promise, no need to check your fate, because you are the miracle. Can't you feel something radiating from you? A steadiness so subtle that others might not notice, but lost souls are already being drawn to your stability. You don't see it because you're humble. You don't accept it because you're used to giving. But the sacred does not need your permission to exist. It has been living inside you, glowing beneath the surface of your patience. And now, it is beginning to burn. You are changing, not in a way the world can label, not a change with a name, but a change from within, as if a missing piece just slipped back into place. No one sees it, no one understands, but you know, you feel it, even without words. You've always known you were not like the rest. Not better, not above, just different. That difference once made you feel isolated, made you carry the load, but now that very difference is opening a gate that only you hold the key to. You are the one who built the foundation first, and the door has truly opened. You no longer need to wait for a miracle, because your soul is the supernatural the universe has been waiting for. Sit still for a moment. You don't need to do anything. Just let your heart answer, not your mind. Do I dare step through? Am I ready to release the old beliefs that have rotted, the burdens that held me down, the identities that no longer fit who I am? You don't need to speak it out loud. Just feel something stir softly in your chest. That's the signal that you are ready for a new life. And you will not walk it alone, because in the next part, you will hear the whisper of God and understand why what is coming is a gift designed just for you, not for anyone else, not something that happens to many, but something only you, this soul, were chosen to receive. Write it down right now. I allow the new life to enter, not as a declaration, but as a ritual, as a sacred exhale that unlocks the spiritual gate. Because the very moment you write those words, a current begins to flow towards you, light as wind, deep as water, and strong as the first light of dawn. And in the next part, that light will call your name in a language only your soul can understand. Because God has never forgotten a single soul His hand has touched. God is waiting for you in a place you never expected. Have you ever felt forgotten? Not by people, but by the one you once trusted most. Maybe you've prayed, not once, but many times. You spoke with all your heart, and all you received was silence. You once sat alone, hands folded, not to ask, but simply to be seen, and yet nothing seemed to happen. And in those moments, you began to doubt, is anyone truly listening to me? But do you know something? God never forgets. You think He's been silent, but in truth, He's been preparing. He's been arranging every piece so that everything reaches you at the right time, in the right way, through the right heart. He doesn't answer you with words. He answers you with situations, with the quiet strength you found when you thought you had none, with the gaze of someone who looks at you with quiet compassion, with a stranger's words you weren't meant to hear but did, with the way you clicked on this video out of thousands of other things in the world, because today, He has something to tell you. I never left. God wrote your name into this moment long, long ago. Even when you forgot to pray, He still remembered who you are. Even when you felt unworthy, He still saw you as whole. You've simply grown used to striving, used to proving your worth, used to believing love comes with conditions. So you don't believe that a love could exist without asking anything from you and still wait. But that love is real, and it's here with you right now. The Bible says, knock and the door will be opened to you. You don't need to pound the door, you don't need to scream, you don't need to beg. Just a gentle knock, and the door will open. The door to the place you belong, where God is still waiting for you, patiently, unconditionally. You don't need to run, don't need to search. Just be still and let love find you. Because you were the one who built the most steadfastly, so you will also be the one held the most securely when you return. You were the one who loved without being loved back, the one who forgave without ever being thanked, the one who endured without anyone noticing. But you were never invisible in the eyes of God. He saw every drop of sweat. He saw every hug you didn't dare ask for. He saw the loneliness you've carried so long you no longer even name it. And because He saw it all, He prepared a final gift. A gift no one else can receive, only you. Because it is the reward for a faith that never left you, even when you thought you had left yourself. You don't need to prove anything anymore. Don't need to keep bracing yourself. Don't need to wear the armor of strength. You can exhale, you can release, you can believe that you are being loved without conditions. Because what's coming is not a miracle you must fight for. It's a divine repayment for every time you chose love over resentment, silence over reaction, kindness over bitterness. This is a gift only certain souls ever receive, and you are one of them. You don't need to understand everything right now, don't need to find every answer. Just be silent for a while and let that strange, sacred feeling wash over you, like someone gently placing a hand on your shoulder, saying nothing, just being there. And somehow, you know you've just been embraced by something not of this world. In the final part, you'll be shown how abundance, both material and spiritual, is already making its way to you from a place you never imagined. Not through formulas, not through strategy, but through the energy you now carry. The energy of a soul who has lived truthfully, loved honestly, forgiven deeply, and is finally ready to receive fully. If you can still hear this, let your heart write down, "I believe you have always been here." Write it as a confirmation, as a thank you, as a marker for the awakening the universe has waited lifetimes to witness through you. And in the next part, you will begin to see the unexpected money, love, protection, and blessings all begin to move around you, not because you begged, but because you came home. Abundance is coming, but you must dare to open your heart. There are whispers not meant for your ears, but for your heart to feel. And if you're still here, listening to this very moment, it's not because you need a prediction, but because your soul is preparing to walk through one final gate. A gate not leading to a place, but leading back to a truth. The truth that you, the Taurus soul, were never missing anything. You only forgot you had everything all along. Abundance is not a reward. It is not granted to those who are worthy. It is not a gift sent from the outside. Abundance is you. It is a natural part of who you are. Like a river is born already carrying water, like the sky is born already holding space. You once believed you weren't enough. Not enough money, not enough love, not enough peace. You once believed that you had to give so much just to receive a little something in return. But you misunderstood. You are not lacking. You have never been lacking. You simply closed off. You closed your heart because you feared instability. You closed your dreams because no one believed they were practical. You closed your intuition because people told you to be realistic. And every door you closed was a place where abundance stood waiting, unable to enter. The Buddha said, "The wider the heart, the greater the blessings." God said, "Open your heart, and I will fill it." He didn't say, "Work hard enough, and I might bless you." He simply said, "Open, and I will pour into it things you never even dared to dream of." Blessings don't come as a prize for perfection. They come like cool water flowing to the driest land. Not because that soil is good, but because it's been thirsty for far too long. Abundance doesn't ask, "Have you done enough to deserve me?" It asks, "Will you allow me in?" Because abundance, whether it is money, love, or life, never forces itself in. It only enters when you stop locking the door. And you know what's miraculous? That door is not out there. It is within you. It lies in that moment when you stop. Stop striving. Stop tensing. Stop begging. And simply breathe and admit, "I have always been the chosen one." You don't need to do anything more to be loved. You don't need to appear better, brighter, kinder. You don't need to be perfect to be welcomed. You just need to stop resisting the good that's trying to find you. Because what's about to happen to you isn't like anything you've experienced before. It's not a sudden windfall of money. It's not a new lover. It's not a surprise career opportunity. It is a reunion between you and your divine essence. Your soul will look at you with eyes that now understand every challenge. Silence will ring like a bell of awakening, and your heart will no longer beat from anxiety, but will beat from the gratitude that you made it through. You are no longer the one hoping to be rescued. You are the safe harbor. Let this stillness linger just a little longer. No need to explain. Just wait. Your soul whispers, I accept, I open, I receive. And from that moment on, you are no longer the same, no longer living by old habits, old wounds, or old names. You are not the one who was betrayed, not the one who was always lacking, not the one who lived for others. You are the one who has returned to the light, and the world will never be the same once you truly rise. Because when a Taurus soul is activated, it doesn't just change its own life. It sends waves of healing and stability through the entire collective soul. Right below this video, write, I have been chosen, and I say yes to receiving the blessing, not just to affirm, but as a sacred right, unlocking the gate of energy that has waited your whole life. Thank you, Taurus soul, for opening your heart and listening to the very end. You have just completed a sacred ritual your soul has long waited for. May you, from this day on, live with ease, with fullness, and with the knowing you have never been forgotten. You have always been loved,